this is a 4-bedroom unit. It has 1.5 baths. It's a totally new kitchen.
And this is also soon to be home to a family that never thought it could afford to buy one. In fact, only 23% of the homes here in Harlem Park are owner-occupied. Home ownership in this neighborhood is way below the city average, but the St. Pius Housing Committee is out to change that. The nonprofit development company has already rounded up low-interest rate loan money to renovate 9 properties, and its goal over the next year is to convert 50 of Harlem Park's 260 vacant homes into affordable homes for area residents. The Clark family rented this house for 20 years, but now, thanks to this program, they've been able to become homeowners. In fact, they bought the house next door. Moselle Clark and her husband say their days of battling a landlord are over, and they can now provide a home for 2 of their children and a grandchild.
This is mine, and I will always be here, and I will always have a place for them to come out. That I don't have to worry about.
St. Pius was able to help the Clarks buy this home even though their income's less than $11,000.
Their rental payment record could verify the fact that they made their payments on time, and they came in and purchased a unit that now they pay just the same amount for a mortgage that they pay for rent.
Betty Moran's a lifelong Harlem Park resident. She says the streets were cleaner and crime was lower before a 1955 urban renewal experiment drove away many homeowners. That experiment demanded they make expensive improvements to their homes.
It caused them to give up their homes and to move elsewhere because they couldn't afford, or they couldn't see how they could afford to do the things that the urban renewal said must be done.
Moran's hopeful efforts to encourage home ownership will bring back the neighborhood spirit she enjoyed as a child. From Harlem Park, Joyce Jefferson, Channel 2 News.
City jail officials say the most recent inmate to have escaped may have tricked his way out sometime yesterday. He's identified as 20-year-old Joseph Edison, awaiting trial for the drug-related murder of a man in Cherry Hill last July.
It appears as though the man left his housing unit on a pass to receive medical treatment, did not report to that area, was able to get himself in a crowd of prisoners either being transported out of the facility or being released.
Jail Warden Paul Davis is not ruling out the possibility that Edison could still be hiding somewhere inside the jail facility, but acknowledges he's probably out, making him the 4th inmate to escape from the jail in 3 weeks. 2 of the 3 who used ropes to escape from the jail on January 19th are still at large, but believed to be somewhere in the Washington area. Currently, the city jail is housing 113 inmates over the legal limit set by a federal judge. But Warden Davis says he doesn't believe overcrowding was a contributing factor in the last 4 escapes.
I don't think that the security is weakened by the numbers. I, however, hasten to add that certainly folks are under a greater strain.
Warden Davis says he's already acted to plug the holes in security which led to the escapes. At the city jail, Joan Gartland, Channel 2 News.
No one seemed to want it. It was an ugly duckling.
31 South Arlington Avenue used to be an ugly duckling where chickens were sold.
For years this was a vacant building, and I know in my youth it was a chicken place. We used to come here and buy chickens.
But Sarah McCrae and other neighborhood residents are proud of what now stands here thanks to COIL, Communities Organized to Improve Life. The Neighborhood Development Corporation purchased the rundown building from the city for $1, and with the help of local investor Craig Giorgi, turned it into what they hope will become a living part of West Baltimore's future.
And if you look around the neighborhood, I'm really amazed. In fact, if you come in from the west at the view down, Hollins and Baltimore, it's becoming a really nice-looking area down here, and I think it's going to attract a lot of people before too terribly long.
The first floor will house a women's boutique, which will be run by West Baltimorean Amelia Moore. Do you think something like this will give a boost of pride in the community, seeing a nice store like this?
Absolutely. There's no doubt. I'm very positive. People look for things like this. They want something to look at and say, oh, maybe one day I could have something like that.
Climb the spiral staircase to the 2nd and 3rd floors, and you'll find newly decorated apartments which will be rented soon.
I think more people will be fixing up the buildings. I noticed that there's one next door to this one that really needs doing. So I think the people will become more involved.
This third-floor sun deck overlooks a neighborhood that's very proud of West Baltimore's latest success building story. And residents here are hoping that in the future, there'll be a lot more 31 South Arlingtons in years to come. Tony Pagnotti, Channel 2 News.
Trust me, it does have a siren to it, folks. Today, police unveiled the new cruiser, a pale blue Ford Taurus. They hope this car will be less intimidating than the old full-size cruisers. Police officials also expect to be using these cars less and using more shoe leather. It's called community-based policing. And today, News Channel 2's Randy Page brings us a glimpse of the future.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Officers Leonard Akels and Kate Wood are on patrol the old-fashioned way. 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, they walk the same few square blocks in East Baltimore. And they're getting to know the residents here, one person at a time. 91-year-old Ethel Hebron tells the officers she's lived in Baltimore since she was 3 years old. She says the city has changed. She says she's afraid to go outside.
There is no way that you should be a prisoner in your own home, right?
By getting to know Ethel, Officer Akels hopes to form a partnership. He will look out for her, and in turn he hopes she will look out for him. It is the cornerstone of community policing by forming a bridge over the gulf which separates the people from the police.
But critics of more established community-based policing programs, such as programs in Houston, say they're just too expensive, that you can't afford to have two officers walking door to door talking to people one person at a time, when those same two officers could be driving in a police car and covering a lot more ground. Those critics say community-based policing programs are just too expensive, and therefore they just don't work.
It may or may not work in Houston, it may or may not work in Washington, but that doesn't mean it can't work here in Baltimore.
Officer Akels forms one of two experimental community-based patrols in the city, and the residents we spoke to support the effort, though they're divided on just how effective it is.
It's better, because it's cleaned up this immediate 2 blocks in this area, but they just moved to another area.
They really don't do nothing. They will see the people, they keep on walking. They just won't do nothing.
But Officer Akels says he's doing plenty just by building trust in a community which is crippled by fear.
There was an elderly gentleman. I thought I remembered him from down off of Barclay Street.
The police and the people, separated by fear and mistrust, now trying to come together in this East Baltimore neighborhood, one step at a time. In East Baltimore, Randy Page, News Channel 2.
Way into every household.
These days, though, Hammer is betting his horse will race to riches at the Preakness. The man behind the entry, Dance Floor, who's too legit to quit the Preakness, is high-stepping to Pimlico tonight. News Channel 2's Yolanda Graham joins us live from Old Hilltop with more on Hammer. Hi, Yoli.
Hi, Stan. Let me tell you, there was a lot of anticipation here today. You wouldn't think that you could bring together a couple thousand kids from Baltimore's inner city to get a chance to see Hammer free and then have them leave disappointed. But let me tell you, earlier this evening, that's exactly what happened. Hammer showed up here a little bit after 5 o'clock. He was upstairs at the Sports Palace. He did mill around with the kids, shake hands. He gave out autographs and some autographed pictures and whatnot. Then he came down to the racetrack, got up on stage with Mayor Kurt Schmoke. He was named an honorary citizen of Baltimore. He gave the legit sign. He took off his shirt. The girls love that. But that was it. He was up on stage for about 10 minutes here, didn't dance, didn't sing. He took the microphone in his hand, but the audio was really bad down here, so kids really didn't get a chance to hear what he had to say. So there was a lot of disappointment here at Pimlico Racetrack today. Joining me right now is David Jones with Baltimore Westsiders. You're not disappointed. Tell me what happened with Hammer here with you today.
Came up to the booth, came around, shook everybody's hands, and he hugged me.
And what did you get a chance to talk to him or say anything to him at all?
I asked him for a job and everything, but he said he had over 200 people, so I said, okay.
All right, so people were disappointed, but you were happy?
Yeah, I was happy. You know, I met the man, let me know he was really down to earth. The money didn't get to his head and everything, you know. He was really down to earth. I liked him.
All right. Still a Hammer fan here right now. Yeah. Thanks a lot, David Jones. Good luck marching in the Preakness Parade this Friday. All 2,000 of the kids here today will be marching in the parade this Friday. And Stan and Beverly, let me tell you one thing. Hammer's real name is Stanley Kirk Burrell. He's from Oakland, California originally. He changed his name to Hammer because he didn't think Stanley was catchy enough.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
It's worked for me. All right, Yoli, have a good time. Beverly?
Don't change your name, okay? A big part of the Save Our Cities theme is communities working together. It's being called empowerment. This afternoon, the city announced a program that will help communities learn how to do things for themselves instead of waiting for outside help. Now, communities will work together and teach each other how to overcome any problem they may face.
We also want to let the people in our community, especially those in our most distressed areas, know that they can do things on their own, they are doing things on their own, and they need to have that information spread, that there's a lot of positive energy going on out there in our communities.
June 11th, community leaders meet to share information and learn how to set up the program that's called empowerment. One city resident who has long embraced the idea of empowerment is homeless advocate Bee Gaddy. Now, for years, she's helped feed the city's less fortunate, and tomorrow she opens up a furniture bank. The city's needy will be able to get furniture at this store in the Mondawmin Mall at a low cost thanks to donations. Bee's not at the furniture store tonight. Right now, she's at her shelter, and she's helping to do what she usually does, and that's feeding the hungry. That's where we'll find our News Channel 2's Carolyn Pursuti, and she joins us live from East Baltimore. Carolyn?
That's right, Beverly. We are at the emergency center, the Patterson Park Emergency Center, where Bee's been for the last 10 years, serving up meals for 500,000 residents. And I can attest to the fact that the aroma smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it down here. On the menu tonight, we have corn, we have greens, and we have chicken or pork chops. And that's not all Bee does, though. She also has a women's emergency shelter right around the corner, and that houses about 15 women a night and about 500 every year. And in addition to that, like you said, tomorrow that furniture bank opens with free or low-cost furniture for the needy. So Bee is a shining example of what you can do in the community. And we just have to ask her tonight, Bee, what are the benefits to not accepting any federal funds? How do you get around that?
Well, the benefits are, I'd say, I'd say don't accept. I would accept sometimes, I imagine, but if you don't accept it, this means that we've talked to people. We've started people talking. We've started people to really loving themselves. We've started people to really doing things for themselves. So I think that's the gist of it. We're talking about commitments, teaching people how to learn to keep commitments. We're teaching togetherness, number one.
Now, what advice would you have for community leaders that want to set up these type of projects that you've done without the federal funds?
Okay, well, I'd say I'm not the expert, but I will help if you need me. But you've got to begin to talk to your neighbors. You got to stop that superiority air that we see. You have to tell people if you're hurting, holler so I can hear it. And you have to begin to care now. And we have to individualize care. This is how it's done.
Thank you. Bee Gaddy certainly setting up a lot of programs here in the city, and she's also been singled out by President Bush as one of his 1,000 points of life. So we certainly have a good mentor here, and I'm sure she'll help each of the communities around here in order to empower themselves instead of relying so much on the federal government. And of course, by relying on each other, we then don't dwindle down those funds as much, and it seems like people tend to appreciate those programs a lot more when they themselves help. Well, back to you, Beverly.
Carolyn, let me ask you, if everyone who comes to Bee's door is helped, because we know there are staggering figures about how many are needy.
She'll help anyone that comes to the door through one or all of her programs, certainly. In addition to the food, she has AIDS and drug awareness education programs. She also has renovation of houses for low-cost families. She also has a voter education program, just a myriad of projects to help those in need.
Okay, thank you very much, Carolyn Pursuti from East Baltimore with Bee Gaddy.
Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6 o'clock. The battle against the gypsy moth has begun, and we'll show you how.
12:30 this afternoon, and a disheveled, incoherent acting young man walks up Broadway. For blocks, he's allegedly been flashing a knife. Today, police are right there. They subdue the man, confiscate the knife, and nobody is hurt. But yesterday, when two women were stabbed repeatedly on this same street, there were only shopkeepers to intervene. Rod Mills saw the commotion from his shoe shop across Broadway. He dashed over, chased the suspect off, and started first aid. Meantime, another shopkeeper chased the suspect up the block and shot him. What the folks here on the corner where the shooting happened didn't know is that just seconds earlier, down here on the other side of Broadway, the shopkeeper and another man had both been threatened by the man with the knife. Today, merchants here are angry. They've heard shopkeeper Sandy Mandel called a vigilante, but they remember those two bleeding women and a knife-wielding man who they say seemed out of his mind.
Yesterday, a woman was being beaten to death in the street. Okay, and many people stood by and watched it happen. Okay. People's lives were being threatened left and right. A few people tried to help. The individual was flashing the knife around to other people, turned on him to flash it. The man was worried he was going to take it out on somebody else. He figured that that man was not finished. He was going to go and go on a rampage. And so did other people that were involved, except that this poor man is the one that took the action.
It's an action police can't recommend, but one they can understand. An action merchants here hope won't be necessary again as they work together to clean up their community. Mark Bernarelli, News Channel 2, Fells Point.